Good afternoon. Hi, Yasmine.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Hi, I can. Yes, hi, it's Catriona here.
Hi, Catriona. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Just to let you know, it's Catriona, silent O.
Katrina, okay. Very nice to meet you.
Likewise, I think we've spoken previously on calls, but nice to put a face to the name.
Yes, exactly. Can you hear me well, or do you
I
think
can.
it's good?
No, very well. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, perfect.
Perfect. And we have Ghazi here as well.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hi, yes.
Yes, we can. Hi, Ghazi.
How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. How about you?
Good. Not bad. Hi, Yasmine.
Hi, Ghazi. How are you?
Good, good.
Ghazi, I will try my best to say your name correctly. I've been practicing all morning. It's
no problem.
my accent wants to say Ghazi, but I'm trying not to. I always correct people on how to say my name, so I must try and pronounce everyone else's name correctly.
That's fair, but it's okay. My grandma was never able to, so I'm quite used to it. She's also from Scotland, I believe.
Well, it must be a Scottish thing then.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have 20 minutes, which is fantastic. That gives us a little more time. I will try and get through the questions we have prepared and then see if we can bring in any from the audience as well to continue the great audience interaction that there has been throughout the conference so far.
Sure.
Great.
I think the first question for me might take a bit longer, but the second and third will not exceed 1 minute.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Same with me, actually.
Yes, because Ghazi, I'm asking you, how did the project start? And then Yasmine, I'm asking you, why did UN Habitat join? Is that correct?
I think the first question is for me, how did it start and why did UN Habitat join? And then Ghazi is the next question.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll come to Yasmine for the first question. And so, Ghazi, do you want to answer what are the guidelines and why do we need them?
Exactly, yes.
Okay. Okay, and then Yasmine, I'll go to you next about who are they for, and then Ghazi can give the status update. Brilliant, thank you. Glad we checked that. Then Yasmine, what's the final outcome? And Ghazi, what are the next steps?
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Okay, I'm glad I checked this because I had them in the wrong order and I was about to ask each of you the wrong questions.
Well, I'm pretty sure we've both memorized the whole thing by now.
You both know it off by heart, yes.
Yeah.
I was looking at it last night. It's such an impressive document.
Thank you. It's huge.
It is huge. I know I am tasked with reviewing just my area of expertise, but I want to review the whole thing, but I don't know how long that will take me.
Actually, yeah, it's gonna take a while, and there's a lot to review, and it needs one as well. It needs a good, thorough review.
These things always do, don't they? People bring new ideas and perspectives every time.
Yeah.
Some areas need to be summarized a bit to avoid any repetition. So this is what we will work on in the next phase.
Yes.
When we did our health and well-being framework last year, I think it was reviewed over 100 times. So much feedback, but it's such a valuable experience to go through, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
People come to you with suggestions that you would never have thought about. So hopefully I can help in some way.
Yeah, we hope so as well.
Yasmine, where are you based?
In Cairo, Egypt.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so we have the regional office and Egypt office all in the same place. So it's all in the same location. It's the same office. So all in Cairo.
That makes sense. When we start, would you two like to be on camera, or would you like to turn on your cameras when I introduce you?
I don't mind either.
I don't mind either. I've seen in the other sessions that people turn on the camera when they were introduced, I think.
Let's maybe do that. I think that is what it said in the guidance.
Okay. So we turn it off now?
That sounds good. As people come and join our session.
Okay, sorry about that. Just had the other panel run over. But hopefully everybody has made their way over here now or is doing that very quickly. Welcome everyone to the session on greening the path to recovery, where we will look at rebuilding cities after natural disasters or conflict to ensure that they are healthy, affordable, resilient, and sustainable. Our moderator for this session is our very own Catriona Brady, who is the Director of Strategy and Development at the WorldGBC and previously the head of our Better Places for People project. So Catriona, the floor is all yours.
Thank you so much, Dominica, and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us in our session this afternoon in London time on greening the path to recovery. My name is Catriona Brady. I'm based in London and I'm Director of Strategy and Development at WorldGBC. Now, as Dominica has introduced to us, we know that when natural disasters or conflicts strike communities, they must be rebuilt effectively or face potentially greater risks in the future. Rebuilding cities as a whole requires the integration of multi-layered components, as we've heard today from a variety of expert speakers, to ensure they are healthy, affordable, resilient, sustainable, and equitable. In this session, we will highlight the joint effort between the World Green Building Council's Middle East and North Africa Network and UN Habitat to guide this process of sustainable reconstruction and inspire continued conversation in this vitally important space. So this is indeed a conversation. If you would like to get involved or to keep it going on social media beyond the boundaries of this session, please use the handles @WorldGBC and the hashtag for the Congress, #NEA Green Buildings 2021. And also please do share any questions you have for our experts in the chat box, and I hope we'll have time to incorporate them at the end of this session. So it's my great pleasure to be joined by two experts in the field of sustainable reconstruction to share their expertise in this brief fire starter discussion this afternoon. It's my pleasure to introduce Ghazi Majali, who is the Technical Project Coordinator on the Guideline for Sustainable Reconstruction and City Regeneration project at WorldGBC. Hi, Ghazi.
Hi, Catriona. It's good to be here.
There we go. We've got you. Great. Thank you. And joining Ghazi, we also have Yasmine Mostafa, who is the Knowledge Management and Reporting Officer working in the Regional Office for Arab States in Cairo at UN Habitat. Hi, Yasmine.
Trina.
Okay, let's get started. We've got about 10-15 minutes to give our audience a high-level overview and get them inspired about this topic. So let's get started. We'll begin by looking backwards to give our audience a bit of context. So Yasmine, maybe we'll begin with you so you can share, how did this project start? And why did UN Habitat join WorldGBC for this project?
Thank you, Catriona, and thank you for the introduction and for calling me an expert. I'm so not an expert. And thank you everyone for joining us in the session today. So to answer your question, Catriona, I think that the partnership between UN Habitat and the WorldGBC started in 2019, mainly because the two organizations had a common vision and a common goal of working together and mobilizing our efforts and resources towards a regional agenda for sustainable recovery and reconstruction, while promoting the principles of building back better, especially in the context of the devastating impacts of the ongoing conflicts and the protracted crises, and also the impacts of climate change. So we at UN Habitat, we strongly believe in the importance of creating partnerships mainly to maximize the impact of our work, whether it's normative or operational. And the partnership with the WorldGBC is a great example of successful partnerships that we've had for some time. So I think it's also worth mentioning that the guidelines that we're working on together on green recovery and reconstruction cuts across 2 out of the 4 main areas of intervention of UN Habitat, or what we call the 4 domains of change. And these areas are advancing climate action and improving the urban environment. And at the same time, the second one is supporting crisis prevention and recovery, and increasing the resilience of the built environment and infrastructure. So there are a lot of efforts and a lot of initiatives that are ongoing that relate to urban recovery and reconstruction, but there is still a gap when it comes to the green element of recovery and reconstruction. That focuses on reducing the vulnerabilities of the people and at the same time addressing environmental sustainability. And through the guidelines, we hope that we can launch a roadmap towards mainstreaming climate resilience in the different processes and the different steps of recovery, and continue our advocacy work to get the buy-in of the different stakeholders, especially national and local governments.
Thank you, Yasmine. That's a helpful overview and puts it into context for us now. And now we can go into the detail of what's being created and the theory of change behind the outcomes of this project. Ghazi, can you share with us, please, what are these guidelines and why do we need them?
Sure, Catriona. So these guidelines will be a working and easily legible document or platform that provides considerations and actionable guidance that address the changing environmental landscape for reconstruction in the region. Guidance will be accompanied by a range of useful material to raise the awareness and capacity of stakeholders to improve their decision-making, product design, and evaluation. The guide will offer an opportunity to gather humanitarian and construction actors and development partners to rethink ways of working together and pooling their resources to further implement the humanitarian development and peace nexus in the MENA region. These guidelines adopt the Build Back Better approach as proposed by the Sendai framework for DRR, as it specifically is related to disasters to build resilient communities. These principles are effective in stabilizing societies post-conflict and strengthening them beyond previous levels of functioning towards greater forms of individual and community excellence. They're also effective in restarting economies and the ability of communities to secure their livelihoods. But more importantly, they serve to get the right mix of policies, forms of investment, behavior and attitude changes to reduce the eventuality of future shocks and to boost the ability of societies to deal with them when they do. So at present, there is no guidance specifically tailored to reconstruction and regeneration for resource and climate resilience in the region, especially guidance that directly addresses a population's needs, including its physical and mental health, social and economic well-being, and identity, even though these aspects will be fundamental to long-term peace, stability, and inclusive economic growth.
Thank you. And I think you're absolutely right. They're filling a gap where there is no guidance to date. And I've had the opportunity to have a sneak peek, and they are super active. I've had the pleasure to review them, and I'm sure they'll be an incredibly valuable output to support this work. So Yasmine, let's hear a wee bit more about them now. I think we've got a lot of stakeholders on the line who you have questions for our experts, but can you elaborate on who these guidelines are for once they're completed?
Mm-hmm. So the guidelines are tailored and designed in a way that they can serve and be used by a wide range of stakeholders and users, like you mentioned. And we think that in order for them to be successful and implemented properly, the involvement of different stakeholders and different development actors are really key. So the key stakeholders here include the national and local governments, and they are very important, as the political will and support is very important for the implementation of the guidelines. Also international organizations, NGOs and CSOs, financial institutions, donor agencies, development banks, also private sector entities, and different manufacturers, suppliers, consultants, and contractors, and most importantly, local communities, as they are at the heart of the guideline. There are other users that can benefit from the guidelines, including urban development practitioners at large, architects, researchers, and so on. But these are the main stakeholders that we are targeting.
Thank you. So I think for our audience listening today, a lot of them will be really excited, and I'm sure this will allow them to engage with the guidelines once they're completed.
I hope so.
So Razi, can you give our audience a status update? What has been done so far?
Yes, of course. So a cross-cutting team of leading experts was put together to develop these guidelines across 6 thematic areas. So integrative social and economic resilience, efficient resource utilization, environmental and climate resilience, health and well-being, sustainable mobility and accessibility, and heritage. So over the past several months, alongside the EBRD as well, who have been assisting us with the last phase of the project, we've developed these themes and their contents alongside their methodology of how they will be developed, and their eventual presentation structure and a user interface. They were all extensively individually critiqued in over 30 internal focus groups, online consultation sessions, and external experts, and national roundtables over the past several months, so that's from October to January, to continually test, ground, and validate the development of the outcomes and received feedback. The set of draft guidelines is composed of around 400 pages. That takes into account feedback and lessons learned from every session, and is expected to be published later towards the end of the year.
Thanks, Ghazi. That's something that we will look forward to. People will be marking the dates in their diaries for when it's released, I'm sure. Okay, so we have just a few minutes left before we need to close, and I want to bring in some questions from the audience. So Razi, I'm going to come back to you first, if that's okay. We have had a question from Buruk asking specifically about interventions for historic areas. The full question is that he would like to know how these guidelines help build a safer world, I suppose, in carrying out sustainable reconstruction and recovery interventions, thus rendering them to be socially, economically, and environmentally resilient, and/or should establish how to proactively enhance the resilience of these areas so that they will better cope with future disasters. A very long question. Can I task you with a short answer?
Of course. So one of the guidelines themes is heritage, in which we addressed archaeology and the built heritage that fills the region, all the way from Iraq to Morocco. And through our own expert by the name of Hana Alamuddin and the other experts who offered a cross-sectoral expert into her findings, we were able to come up with several approaches in how to start to think about how to deal with these very important components of society in the Middle East and North African region. And that ranges from how they need to be preserved and conserved, and how they actually need to be integrated within society, and how reconstruction efforts need to have them blend in with any reconstruction or regeneration effort.
Thank you.
It is something that's to note that these heritage items are also important sources for these societies in terms of their social makeup, and also with these societies' reliance on them for their economic development as well.
Thank you, Razi.
Sorry, Catriona, I tried to keep it short.
It's hard. It's a huge topic. Thank you for the overview, and it's picked up another question I think we've been asked. Final closing remark from you, Yasmine, and I wonder if you could pick up in that the question that's been asked specifically about networking strategies between UN Habitat and other local stakeholders.
So in the Arab region, we have 13 country offices in different countries in the Arab region, and all of them have direct contacts with the local governments, because we mainly work at the local level in cities with local governments. We're also very much keen on our network with local communities through NGOs and through CSOs. So we think that this would be the entry point when we're trying to implement the guidelines or pilot it, at least, that this would be the entry point for UN Habitat through the networks that we have already established. But we would need first to prioritize a set of cities or a set of areas that are most in need, in which we can start with, and then we can scale up the guidelines in the implementation phase.
That makes sense. Thanks, Yasmine.
Thank you, Catriona.
Okay, so we are coming to the end of our time, but I think that we've had a brief but very informative session here. Thank you so much, Yasmine and Razi, for taking the time to give us this high-level overview of this project, but also get us excited about it and looking forward to engaging in the guidelines when they are released for us all to utilize. Personally, you're very welcome. Personally, I'm very excited about the potential for this project for inspiring sustainable reconstruction and regeneration in the MENA region, incorporating the natural and built environments, and look at potential scaling beyond the region. So we'll look forward to the next steps in supporting the work that emerges. So thank you both again.
Thank you, Catriona.
And I'll hand back to Dominica.
Thank you, Catriona, and thank you to our panelists. Thank you for being very succinct. I think it gave us a taste of what we can expect from the guidelines, and I'm sure there will be many more questions. I would also just want to say an additional thank you to EBRD and you and Habitat for all your support and sponsorship in this project as well, so thank you. We now have time for a 10-minute break. And during the break, we welcome you to join the stage. So you click the stage icon, where you will actually hear the welcome remarks from Ambassador Elkanah Odembo on behalf of our patron for the Congress, the Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, who was unfortunately not able to make it and be with us yesterday. So you can hear those remarks on the stage. And then we will see you back for the next session, which is upscaling health and well-being principles to a city level, which you can access again using the sessions icon to the left of the screen. So 10-minute break and then back into the sessions. See you all very soon.